Oh, hello. This is your big homie tip, brought to you by Phonte Coleman. Yeah, there was a big surprise a couple weeks ago when my brother Big Pooh discovered that our first record label, ABB Records, were pressing up copies of our first two albums, The Listening and The Minstrel Show, doing reissues, and we have not seen any money from those records at all. And so a lot of people were hitting us up and they was like, yo, well, how does this happen? How does this happen? You know, what's up? So, you know, I thought I would just give people some tips, big homie ones, if you will, and just to give the younger generation some examples of just some of the biggest lies that you hear in the music industry, and half truths, I would say, and ways you can kind of get around them. So, first thing in the music industry, most people will tell you whenever you talk about getting a deal or doing any kind of industry dealings, the first thing people always tell you, get a lawyer. That's like the first thing people always say, get a lawyer, get a lawyer, get a lawyer. Oh, okay, whatever, get a lawyer. Okay, and there are several layers to get a lawyer, but we'll just start just right there. That is the myth. The reality is, it doesn't matter who your lawyer is if you don't have leverage. If I'm your attorney and I'm representing you as the client and a deal comes across the table and I look at the deal and I say, all right, look like they giving you like 30 grand, but they gonna take your publishing, they want this, they want that, they want this, they want your merch, they want this, and I can say all these things and say, listen, I don't think this is a good deal for you. If you on the other side, if you're the client looking at it and you're in a desperate position, you're looking at that deal and you're saying, look, all right, Tay, I hear what you're saying, but yo, bro, them 30 bands, like, nigga, I need that shit now. You know what I'm saying? I need that today. Like, it's real over here. So at that point, as your attorney, that's when the negotiation is over. Because as your attorney, I have to it's my job to get you what you want. And if you're okay with taking that deal, or even if you're not okay, you're in a place of desperation where you have to take that deal, or you feel as though you have to take that deal, then it doesn't matter who your lawyer is. You have your lawyer can be goddamn Olivia Pope, nigga Matlock, goddamn nigga Johnny Cochran, Ghost, Hologram, nigga. You have whatever the fuck you want. If you have no leverage, I don't know if Olivia Pope was a lawyer actually. I think she was a fixer, but either way, even if you had her, it wasn't gonna matter. So yeah, man, if you don't have leverage, your lawyer doesn't matter. And there's no coincidence that so many artists that you see that they get signed when they're young, because when you're young, you have no leverage. You know what I'm saying? When you think of any artist, particularly just any black artist, signing a deal in their 20s, 21, 22. Granted, is that a child? No, you're legally an adult, but you're 22, 23 years old. What opportunity, what black kid do you know 23 years old has the opportunity to turn down what they see as a bag of money, or even to turn down the position, the potential to pick up a bag of money? You're not really gonna find that, and so when you come to these, when it comes to like lawyers and everything, yeah, if you're in a position where you as the artist, if you're desperate, you're hungry, you're coming from not coming from money, which was certainly the case when we signed our first deal. It was, yeah, we said, okay, we think this is an opportunity for us, and we take it. So yeah, if you don't have doesn't matter about your lawyer. If you have no leverage, your lawyer doesn't matter. The next part is people will say, when they look at situations like ours with ABB and just other, just shady like record business shit, they say, well, you got to read your contract. You got to get your contract. You got to get your contract. You got to read your contract. Okay. There's theory and then there's practice. All right. So let's talk contracts. All right. So with contracts, the most valuable lesson I ever learned about contracts, surprisingly, was not in the music business. It was in family court. I was in a custody dispute with my son's mom, and we had to go to mediation. And so we're sitting in mediation, and we're trying to get the parenting agreement together, and I'm going in saying, well, I want this in there, I want this in there. She's going in, well, I want this in there, I want that in there. We just going back and forth. And so finally the mediator looks at us and she says, listen, we can draft up a 500-page document that details every aspect of your son's life from the minute he wakes up till the time he goes to bed at night. Holidays, weekends, birthdays, school dates, all of that. We can detail that to the finest, you know, to the down to the minutia. She said, but at the end of the day, if you two are determined to make each other miserable, that's what y'all are gonna do. And she was right, you know what I'm saying? And you know, eventually we ended up getting it all worked out. It was cool, but I learned a valuable lesson. A contract is only as good as the people who sign it. I don't care if you have the most bulletproof, ironclad contract ever, you know what I'm saying? Like just crazy, you know, protection, whatever you want to call it. If you're doing business with someone that's not honorable, if you're doing business with a fuck nigga, it doesn't matter. That person is gonna find a way to weasel out, or they're not gonna honor that deal because they're not an honorable person. A contract doesn't change your character. You know what I'm saying? Like a contract, it don't change your constitution. It don't change who you are. So you can have the most bulletproof contract you want. If you're doing business with somebody that's determined to fuck you over, that's what they're gonna do. There are no guarantees in this business, which leads us to the next point. That is another myth, another thing you hear on online, and just, you know, people talk about the business when they hear about artists, you know, getting screwed by the record label. Take them to court. Just file a lawsuit. File a lawsuit. Just go to court. Okay. There's theory and then there's practice. All right. So lawsuits. As an artist, the most important commodity that you have, the most precious resource that you have, is your time. You know what I'm saying? And lawsuits are extremely time consuming. They are extremely expensive. And, you know, and it's just a suck of your energy, you know? And, you know, when we knew we had been, you know, fighting, you know, seeing the stuff that ABB was doing with us, like for a long time, you know what I'm saying? We had been, you know, seeing these niggas out here violating, you know what I mean? And my position was, listen, I could spend time fighting for this old music, or I could make new music. And I was just at a point in my life, look, I just wanted to move on, you know what I mean? And, you know, the time I spend fighting for the listening, you know, that's time that I'm not spending making Leave It All Behind. That's time that I'm not making Charity Starts at Home. That's time that I'm not making, you know, May the Lord Watch, you know what I mean? That time and energy I'm giving this old music, those are valuable years of my creative lifespan that I'm essentially wasting, you know? And so lawsuits are extremely time consuming, can be extremely expensive, and it is very easy to sue. It is not that easy to collect. So even if you go to court and you walk out with just the most slam dunk, like just killing shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just the craziest victory, you're still not guaranteed to collect your money. And so lawsuits they can just be a thing where, you know, you just step on a dollar to pick up a dime, you know what I'm saying? Like what it costs you in time, money, and resources versus what you get back, that shit don't always add up, you know what I'm saying? So then the next question is, well, how do you avoid these things? How do you do that? What I would say, what has really saved me and kept me in the game, there's no way I could have stayed in music if I didn't form my own label. You know what I'm saying? If I never formed FE Music with Nicolay and provide an outlet for us to put out our own records and make, you know, records and put them out into the world the way we saw fit, I probably would have walked away from this shit a long time ago. It is nothing more just heartbreaking than to take your time creating something and putting time and care into something and just putting it into someone else's hands and just watching them fuck it up. You know what I mean? That shit it's infuriating, it's devastating, it's commentating, illustrating, it's yours, all that, nigga. That shit was That shit was fucking, yeah, shit had you ready to goddamn choke a motherfucker. But so yeah, so forming my own label, that sincerely helped. And so what I've learned is just that when you get into this game, it is important to, as much as you can, learn every aspect of the business that you can. Really build it from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? From everything, from booking your shows, doing your merch, doing everything, owning the means of your production, which is something that I always stress to young artists. You know what I'm saying? If you are a beat maker, buy your own beat machine. If you are a director, you need to have your own camera. If you are a producer, have your own equipment. If you're a singer, rapper, whatever, have your own setup at the crib, whatever. Have your means of production so that you can control the things that you make and make them whenever you want. Also, another thing that's super crucial is having a team of people that you can trust. Having people around you that, they can be people that you came up with. They can be people that you just have working relationship with. My definition of success is that I get to make the music I love with people I love, and I get to do it on my own terms. It doesn't make any sense. I didn't work this hard to have to go into the studio with assholes. You know what I'm saying? And I don't advise other artists to either. When you're working on projects, whether it be movies, TV, whatever, albums, whatever, you're pretty much trapped in a submarine with the people that you work with. It's y'all in like these tight spaces, for long periods of time, and it's intense and it's a lot of work, and nobody wants to work with a fucking dick. You know what I mean? Like, nobody, if it's someone, I don't care how talented they are, if you just don't like working with them, if you're just not, working with them is just not a pleasurable experience, it's just not worth it, because having a team is so important, and you have to have people that, you trust, and people that you genuinely enjoy working with. So that has been a huge part of what has helped me really just navigate the game and just really, build my career over the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have had someone to tell me this shit before we signed that first deal, but you live and you learn, and Tay did that, so hopefully you ain't got to go through that.